For over 2 decades, I played an instrumental role in Amanda's life, treating her as if she were my own flesh and blood. When I married her mother, Amanda was just a bright-eyed 5-year-old, full of curiosity and innocence. From that very moment, I made a solemn vow to love, protect, and nurture her as if she were my own daughter. I wasn't just a stepfather. I was her unwavering pillar of support, a constant presence in her life. I still remember our wedding day, her tiny fingers wrapped around mine as I stood at the altar. She looked up at me with wide, trusting eyes, and in that moment, I knew I had a responsibility that extended far beyond just being her mother's husband. I had to be her father in every way that mattered. I held her hand during that ceremony, promising in my heart to always be there for her. And I kept that promise. Through every skinned knee, every tear-streaked face after a bad dream, every late-night fever that sent her mother and me into a quiet panic, I was there. I was the one waiting at the finish line of her school's 3-legged race, cheering her on even when she stumbled. I was the one sitting through every school play, clapping louder than anyone, even when she was merely a background character with a single line. Amanda's biological father, Frank, was a shadowy figure in the background of her childhood, a presence defined more by absence than by any meaningful role he played. He would drift in and out of her life, appearing only when it suited him, making grand promises that never materialized. His child support payments were laughably inconsistent, his phone calls sporadic and hollow. Yet, despite all this, I never spoke ill of him. I believed that Amanda should be free to form her own opinions about her father without my influence. But I will never forget her 16th birthday. She had been so excited, eagerly awaiting a visit from Frank. She had talked about it for weeks, planning the perfect father-daughter moment in her mind. The hours ticked by. The candles on her cake melted into waxy pools. But he never showed up. That night, she collapsed into my arms, her sobs shaking my chest, whispering through her tears, "Why doesn't he love me?" It shattered me, but I held her close, reassuring her over and over again that she was loved, that she was important, that she mattered. I was the one who celebrated her victories. When she graduated high school, I threw her a party, paid for her cap and gown, and cheered for her with the pride of a father who had watched his little girl grow into a remarkable young woman. Frank, he sent a vague, impersonal congratulatory text a full week later. Through every milestone, college applications, heartbreaks, and triumphs, I was there, standing beside her, guiding her, supporting her in every way a father should. So when Amanda excitedly announced her engagement last year, my heart swelled with pride. I had always dreamed of walking her down the aisle, of giving her away to the man she loved, a moment I had envisioned countless times. Wanting to contribute to her special day, I offered to pay $50,000 toward her wedding. It was a gesture of love, a way to ensure that she had the wedding of her dreams, free from financial worry. But then, a month before the wedding, during an otherwise ordinary family dinner, Amanda hesitated before speaking. "I need to tell you something," she said, avoiding my eyes. My heart began to race. Taking a deep breath, she finally looked up and said, "I've decided that Dad is going to walk me down the aisle." The silence that followed was suffocating. I felt the weight of her words sink into my chest like a stone, but I forced myself to remain calm. "Okay," I said, my voice carefully measured, "if that's what you want. But may I ask why?" She bit her lip, her gaze flickering away. "I just feel like it's his place. You know, he's my real dad, her real dad." It felt like a knife had been driven into my heart. I had been the one who had raised her, loved her, and stood by her when Frank had abandoned her time and time again. And yet, here she was, choosing him. Then came the final blow. "I think it might be best if you don't come to the wedding at all," she added, shifting uncomfortably in her seat. "It might be weird for him." My wife gasped. "Amanda, do you hear yourself?" He has supported you every step of the way, and now he's even paying for your wedding. Amanda's expression remained uneasy, but she stood her ground. I know and I appreciate everything, but this is my decision. A crushing weight settled over me. I felt like the ground had been yanked from beneath my feet. But after a long, heavy pause, I simply nodded. "All right," I said. Her shoulders relaxed, a sign that she had expected resistance, but was relieved when none came. "Thank you for understanding," she said softly. I sat there for a moment, staring at my plate, my mind reeling, and then, with a deep breath, I made my own decision. "Since I won't be attending," I said slowly, "I will also be canceling the $50,000 payment." Amanda's face went pale. "Wait, what?" I shrugged, my voice calm but resolute. "If I'm not family enough to be at the wedding, then I'm not family enough to pay for it." Panic filled her voice. "But the deposits, the venue, the catering." I stood up, taking my plate to the sink, washing it as if the conversation were nothing more than a passing discussion. "That sounds like a problem for your real dad," I said. The aftermath was a disaster. The wedding plans unraveled rapidly. Frank, unsurprisingly, didn't have the money to step in. Vendors demanded full payment, and without it, the grand wedding Amanda had envisioned crumbled. Guests were notified of drastic changes, and reality began to set in. Then, one evening, Amanda called me, her voice trembling. "I made a mistake," she admitted. "I let my emotions cloud my judgment. I want you there." But it was too late. The damage had been done. The bond we once shared had been severed. I declined her invitation, knowing my presence would only deepen the tension. Later, I heard that Frank did indeed walk her down the aisle, in a cheap rental suit, true to form. He left halfway through the reception, abandoning her yet again in a moment that should have been joyous. Amanda was left humiliated, disappointed, and, perhaps for the first time, fully aware of who her father truly was. In the end, actions have consequences. While I may have lost the title of father in Amanda's eyes, she had, in turn, lost the right to call me one. The love and dedication I had given her were cast aside in favor of a fleeting illusion. And though it pained me, I accepted that our relationship had changed forever, a stark testament to the complexities of family, loyalty, and the choices we make.